Hello, 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 everyone, everyone, everyone. Hello, y'all come on in. Y'all come on in. Y'all come on in the room. When you come in, when you come in, hey, son. Hey, make sure when you come in that, hey, Taz, grace and peace, everyone. Grace and peace, everyone. Yes, yes, and yes, indeed, yes. How y'all doing? How y'all feel? How y'all been today? Oh my goodness. So I have two of y'all in here. I'm waiting for a few more of y'all to come in here. Yes, please post the link in the group. Yes. Make sure everyone is aware where we are meeting and where we are gathering. And I hope y'all came to talk today. I hope y'all came to talk today because test 2 really is me testing out the chat feature. This is me testing out the chat feature for YouTube. I love the fact that y'all decided to come in here and take this wild ride with me. I am so excited that we are learning and growing together. When I say I'm excited, I am beyond excited, people. I'm beyond excited. So, yes, make sure we share this in the room. All right. But do not put this on your public social media pages because right now we are a Retired and Got Time family. And this is family talk right now. All right. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So early this week, we were talking about, I was having a conversation with some people about the COVID vaccine. So I want to talk about COVID. We talked about, Taz, can you help your friend out? So we're going to talk about COVID for a hot second. So I see Taz is here. I see Chris is here. Who else is in the room? Say hello. When you come in here, say hello. You know, this is family. It's like you walk into your mama house and your auntie sitting on the bed and ain't nobody said nothing. Okay. Everybody speak in this house. We're gonna speak in this house. So I want to talk about the COVID vaccine. I also want to talk about Simone Biles and some of the vitriol that she's getting and my feelings about that. And we can talk about whatever else you want to talk about. So this is a perfect opportunity to ask questions. All right. And so let's get into this COVID vaccine. Let's get into that. Let's get into that. I'm excited because my girlfriend who made my theme song is on today. I may play it. I may not. You know what? I think I am going to play it because I think it's appropriate. I think it's appropriate. So we're going to hear Retired and Got Time. And then we're going to get into this. Okay. Video don't want to work. The video don't want to work. I'm not quite sure why it's doing it. But while I'm getting onto that, let's talk about COVID vaccine. I'm going to play the theme song on the way out. How about that? So many people have been, so COVID has made a resurgence in the news. It has made a resurgence in the news. And we have this Delta variant. What people have not been talking about is there's another variant aside from the Delta variant called the Lambda variant. And they're not quite sure how dangerous the Lambda variant is. And I've had many conversations with people who have gotten the vaccination. And then there's people like myself who had not gotten the vaccine. I got my first shot on Tuesday. And if I can be honest with everybody, I still didn't want to take it. I understand that there are people who are dying from COVID, and I understand what COVID has done to people. And I have been personally impacted by COVID. So people who have been vaccinated will come to me and say, well, until you'll change your mind when it hits home. Well, when my father died, because, due to COVID, no one could be with him in his last week of life. So I understand what COVID has done. I have personally lost due to COVID. And so I find it insulting for people to assume just because you don't have the vaccination, that you have not been personally impacted by COVID. The second issue I have with people who are vaxxers. So I'm not a vaxxer, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not a pro-vaccine and I'm not anti-vaccine. I am pro, it's your life, live it how you want to live it. That is my stance. I am. So Tony, no, I didn't feel pressure. And I'm gonna get to why I took it. So for me, I was naturally hesitant. And I'm gonna say some things that people like, some people are gonna probably roll their eyes and say, you know what, I can't believe that she even feels this way. So when it first came out, I spent 26 years in the United States Air Force. So every year, as long as I raised my right hand and did my oath of enlistment, there were things that were not optional. There were things that had to happen. I had no say, or I could separate. That was my choice. Either say something, either adhere to it or separate. Every year I had to get the flu shot. I never wanted the flu shot, didn't desire to have the flu shot. Every year I had to get the flu shot. It wasn't a choice. Every year around October, November, I was forced to get the flu shot. And even if I somehow, some way slipped through the cracks and made it past flu season, I still had to get the flu shot. So there's that. I wanted this to be my own choice. Two, having worked for the government, I didn't trust it. I felt that the vaccine was rushed. Here is my thinking. A person who is not a virologist, a person who is not an entomologist, a person who is not a public health person. These were my fears. I, wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do with my body. I was reclaiming my authority and agency over my body. One. Two, I didn't trust it initially. I wasn't sure. I felt that it was rushed, and I wanted to make sure. I wanted to see some of the longer term effects. I did believe that something needed to be done, and I did not think negatively about anybody who took it, because we needed people to take it so we can get the data to know more, to have a better understanding of what the impacts or implications of this vaccine was going to be, and even if it was going to be if it was going to be viable, if it was going to be something was going to help. People in my family began to take the vaccine, and people, then there were people who were very upset. People are dying, you should take it. If you care about your neighbor, you should take it. And then I began doing the research and looking at our global neighbors, and our global neighbors are not getting the vaccines. And maybe because I have an issue with privilege of any kind, and I recognize my American privilege. And guess what? Being a Black woman in America, I don't have much privilege. But being an American, I have the privilege of being in a so-called rich country. So rich that we are throwing away vaccines, or we're hoarding them and not giving them to people who need them. And so I felt a level of guilt there as well. Like, okay, we're supposed to be a Christian country. We say this when it's convenient for us. We say that we're a Christian country, faith-based country, and all these things. But then we are so when everybody's global business, when it helps us financially, benefits us financially, we'll be in your business if we can control your oil fields. We'll be in your business if we can do this, that, and the other, controlling it. But as far as humanitarian and making sure that these people in these brown countries, these Black countries, people who look like me, are not getting the vaccine, and to read articles published by the BBC. I don't trust American media sometimes. So articles produced by the BBC saying that the overall goal is to have these third world countries 20% vaccinated. Like that was going to be a win if they were 20% vaccinated by 2022. Are you serious? But we're talking about, if you get the vaccine, but if you care about your neighbor, if you care about your humanity, well, if we cared about humanity, will we not make sure that these other countries who can afford to produce this vaccination get what they need? But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that, right? So what made me get the vaccine? What made me get the vaccine, Tony? I did feel pressured, but not pressured because of people. Um, to know me is to know that I am agreeable and I believe in rules and order, but you can't make me do something I don't want to do. Bay and I are going to honeymoon in Mexico. I flew to Chicago unvaccinated in June, and I was terrified. I was nervous being on the plane. Mind you, I wash my hands. I have my hand sanitizer. Um, I wore my mask, and if you look at all the videos in Chicago, people were probably wondering, why did she still have her mask on? I wasn't vaccinated, and I didn't want to bring anything back home because I still had to see my mom. My mom has different things, and so going to Mexico. I'm scheduled to speak in Philadelphia in October. I have to get on the plane again for that. Flying to Mexico, it just made logical sense at this point to go ahead and get it. I also waited. I knew I was going to end up getting the vaccine, but I wanted to wait to get the vaccine closer to me going to Mexico because, again, there has not been proven data, to show how long the efficacy of the vaccine was going to be. So I wanted to make sure I got the vaccine closer to when I was going to be flying internationally than being in the US. I'm still going to have my mask on. So here's another thing that gets on my nerves is people want to talk about those who weren't vaccinated. They don't look at the data, not doing the research on their own. But as soon as you get a vaccine, you walk around with no mask on. You walk around without washing your hands and all this stuff. Well, are you really truly concerned about humanity, or you just want to be able to have your own little freedoms and bump everybody else? Was that it? Right? So then it was the arrogance of, I'm vaccinated, I can't catch COVID. No, baby. No vaccination makes you 100% immune from anything. It reduces the possibility, but COVID, because of how it's mutating, like the flu mutates. If you follow the flu, it should let you know I got the flu shot in 2008. It does not protect you from the 2022 flu strain. So, and they will start talking about booster shots. Another reason why a lot of people have not gotten the vaccine is because they're still waiting for more data. They're waiting for more data. Correct, Chris. Nothing's going to be 100% to keep you from getting COVID. People are still getting COVID and they got the vaccination. You can do everything right and still get COVID. So then there's some people there's some people who are thinking this. If I can do everything right and still get COVID, what is the point of putting a drug in my body that has not been approved by the FDA? It has an emergency approval, but has not been approved by the FDA. Why would I do that? And you're right, Chris. It does not make you immune. It does. It's supposed to. It should lessen the lethality and increase and and it impacts your mortality rate. So if you have the COVID vaccine, you're supposedly less likely to die from COVID. But people with the vaccine are dying from COVID. So the only thing is 100% is death. However, the vaccine is supposed to help you live and us live communally. Here's another belief of mine. There's another reason why I was torn. I'm a Christian. I believe in Darwinism. I do believe. And there's another thing that I believe that hopefully will not get me crucified. Yes, I believe God created us in the earth and put us here to have dominion and to care for the earth. And we've not done our part. We've not cared for the thing that God told us to care for. We have not done our part. And just like we feel as humans, we have a right to live, the earth itself feels like it has a right to live. And the earth is telling us, I'm tired of y'all being a cancer and doing all this stuff that is killing me and hurting me. So the earth, Mother Nature, however you want to call it, is a better killer than anybody. It's smarter than any scientist. So I believe that these diseases and these variations is the Earth's way of thinning out the herd at times to make sure it's a survivalist too. Those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. That's not to say, you know what, just give up and don't do anything. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is we as humanity were charged from the beginning, we're given this gift to have dominion over the earth. To have dominion over something means you have a responsibility to it as well. We were supposed to live peaceably with earth and its animals, and we were supposed to not be arrogant and to not just to do the things that we're doing. We know that putting all this asphalt down is having a negative impact on our weather, on the ozone layer, on the ice caps, and all of that. But people want to say global warming doesn't exist. Okay, so now we don't have the things that keeps things in balance. So we keep destroying them because we want bigger things, we want more things. Okay, well, we have to deal with the consequences of wanting more things too. We have to deal with the consequence of, I remember as a kid, I used to play outside all day long. It was hot, but it wasn't this hot. You want to know why? We didn't have as much concrete. There were more trees. But whenever you have all this asphalt and all this concrete, it just turns it to a big, huge oven. When I grew up as a kid, even though it was hot outside, there was always a cool breeze. There were plenty of trees to play under and hide under. We would play outside all day and not worry about getting heat stroke. Why? If you look at the topography of the world 20 years ago, just look at how the earth began to heal itself because of COVID. Think about that. We were able to, right, Taz, we were able to drink from the water hose, and you used to get locked outside because it wasn't that hot. It wasn't that hot. Last year, we started seeing pods of whales. Fish were making a comeback. I hadn't seen a lightning bug in our house. I was on a walk in Virginia last year and actually saw butterflies. I had not seen butterflies in over 2 years. Had not seen butterflies in 2 years. Why? The earth was dying. And because we were not putting as many planes in the air, because we didn't have as many cars outside, because we were inside minding our own business, doing what we were supposed to do, the earth had time to heal itself. So as much as I want to be outside and come out of lockdown, I also believe that to live a life and not that I want to live, maybe we need to be inside for a little bit longer. Yes, everything is connected. You know, I love the Lion King, the circle of life. We are all connected. And when we get out of balance, so I can't talk about the flies. I don't understand why Noah made sure we had flies and roaches on the ark. I don't get that. Like, bruh, I understand 2x2, but you couldn't have been more selective about your 2x2. So hopefully I answered your questions about COVID. Let's get into the Simone Biles. Can we talk about that? Let's get into Simone Biles real quick. Anyone have any other questions for me about COVID and the vaccine? I'm still not a pro-vaccinator. I'm still not anti-vaccinator. But I will say, can we stop pushing an agenda, period? Because you don't want to get the vaccine, do not talk about people who got the vaccination. They did what they felt was best for them. Those who have the vaccine, can you stop making it seem like everybody who's not vaccinated is stupid, they're dumb, and they deserve to die? The arrogance of you. Everybody who has not gotten their vaccination has done it for a reason of their own. It's not always because we did not do our own research. It's not because we are getting misinformation, disinformation. It's not always about that. Perhaps, maybe we decided we didn't want to do it for whatever reason. And then you have the immunocompromised people who can't get the vaccination. So we keep looking at these numbers and these statistics. Let me tell you something. I love math. Was about to be an engineer, about to be a math major. I can make numbers say whatever I want them to say. I can twist statistics to say whatever I want those stats to say. And so we're 43% vaccinated. That number includes those who cannot get vaccinated. So can we get the number of people who are actually able to get the vaccine and give me that percentage? Because you have people who have compromised immune systems who cannot get the vaccination. We still don't know what the impacts are for kids under 12 years old. So you have kids under 12 who cannot get the vaccination, have not gotten the vaccination. Okay. And we have a grip of people under 12. So when you give me those numbers and those stats, then maybe we can talk. All right. All right. Okay. Let me look into these messages real quick. Okay. So okay. Simone Biles. Can I say this? And I'm not being funny. All right. I find it interesting that some of the people who had nothing but negative to say, things to say about Black women as a whole, are now all in their feelings because she's not performing for y'all. I'm about to put words in Simone Biles' mouth. I haven't talked to Simone. I don't know Simone like that, but she my baby sister. Okay. She has been adopted as my baby sister. And as my baby sister, sis said, I don't have time to put on a show for none of y'all. I'm going to do me. So if you don't know, Simone Biles pulled out of the Olympics during the team competition after she had a vault that would probably be good for anybody else, but it was horrible for her. Mind you, leading up to this, the committee, the judges told Simone, they said of her signature moves that she does is so advanced that they do not know how to judge it. So they're not going to give her extra points because she's such I'm paraphrasing, she's such an elite athlete that if they give her the points for those things, that other athletes who cannot do it will try to do it and end up hurting themselves. So basically, you're too good. You're too elite. And because you're too elite, I am going to dumb you down so everybody else can compete with you. Let me put this in Black girl talk. Let me put this in Black woman talk, because I've heard this my whole life too. You're too much. You're intimidating. I can't compete with you. So what I want you to do is tone down your shine to make me feel better. I'm sorry. I don't know how to not be me. It's not my fault that you're average. And average is good. Average is okay. We need average. But I'm above average. Why would I come down to average to make average feel okay? How about average do something about being average and come up and they try to meet me where I am? Matter of fact, I will help you get to where I am. But what I'm not going to do is not be Black girl magic to make you feel better about yourself. So, Black women are always being told we're too and fill in the blank. You're too much. You're too aggressive. You're too assertive. You speak your mind too much. It don't take all of that. Your nail polish is too loud. You have too many tattoos. Your hair is too short. Your hair will not is not straight enough. Okay, your hair is too ethnic. It looks too much like you belong from Africa. It reminds me of my inadequacies. And because your hips are too big, while all the while you're getting injections in your hips to make yourself look like me, but I can't be me. So they're telling Simone. So this is the same woman who is carrying all this pressure. This woman is an elite athlete. This also is the only survivor of the atrocities being done to those gymnasts for 20 years. That she's at the Olympics. She's at the place where she trained for 5 years ago and was being sexually assaulted 5 years ago. And then the 4 years prior to that, she's 24 years old. So her whole life, she's been subjected to men subjugating her, touching her, fondling her, and she's back in the place to where she was 5 years prior. And you have that pressure. And oh, by the way, can we talk about something else? Simone Biles was also on the same Olympic team watching Gabby Douglas go through what Gabby Douglas went through. Remember how Gabby was she was the it girl until she wasn't. Simone watched how America used her, abused her. She was the first, she was Black. She was the token. She was this. It was a funny, it was just a story. And she saw how Simone Biles was treated. And after that treatment, she decided, nope, I'm not doing this. And let's look at it this way too. The vault that she did, the fact that she landed it lets you know she's an elite athlete. And then the fact that unlike a basketball player, because we want to say, Michael Jordan was this and Kobe Bryant was that, God rest his soul. Neither one of them were doing sports or doing things and twists in the air that if they landed it wrong, they would die or will cause paralysis. I'm not talking about a freak accident happening on the basketball court. I'm talking about we're doing a somersault in the air. If I don't land this right, I can come down and land on my neck and cause serious damage. That's what happens when you get lost in the air. Every apparatus, no matter what it is she does, she's putting this. It is a dangerous sport. It's more dangerous than basketball, and in some ways more dangerous than football. So this woman decided to make a decision that took her safety into account, and not us, but there's people who are vilifying her. And I saw this, I was talking to some people and we're talking about how it's not just conservative white America that's dogging her, it's Black men that's dogging her. And I had to remind them, Black women have always been the butt of and not been supported holistically by our Black men. But that goes back way, 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 way back to some other deep-seated stuff. We talk about slavery and all this other stuff. But we're used to being dragged by our own people, being dragged by, but Black women are always the ones who come to the aid of everybody. We fight for everybody. We stand up for everybody, but we're not always the ones being stood up for. Just like we were talking about, it doesn't matter any topic dealing with a Black woman, you always say this, what about Black men? We're not talking about you right now. We're always talking about you. We're always talking about men. We're always talking about Black men. But the moment we start talking about Black women, we hear this, well, what about Black men? I love y'all, but what about y'all right now? This is your little sister. This could be your little cousin that decided to make sure that she was okay. And I don't want to hear that all lives matter because we know it don't matter. This is your baby sister. But why are people who have not paid $1, who have not done one trick, has not done one stretch, have not done one toe touch, have not done one backflip, have the right to say anything about her? So you're telling me that your daughter or your baby sister, you find out she was molested and she's going back into an environment that reminds her what happened before. And oh, by the way, she's there by herself. She can't bring her parents, her support group, none of that. The things that keep her grounded, she doesn't have any of that over there. I remember Here's the thing, and I'm nowhere near Gabby Douglas or Simone Biles. I remember being in the military, being in the Air Force, and being promoted to E8. I remember the pressure I felt because where I got promoted, it wasn't many brown women that were that rank. And it seemed like every Black girl was proud of me, and it felt like we got promoted. And I remember feeling that pressure of being good for them, to be the example for them, because I was walking through a door and doing something for them to look up to. And there was a level of pressure to make sure I was always squared away. So I was they called me a super professional. My hair was always together. I went to a different level of professionalism because I was doing it for us. It was for us. This unwritten us. You could be a white athlete and be an athlete for yourself, but being a Black athlete in a sport that's dominated by white people, it's like you carry the hopes and the dreams for your for your people with you, and that's pressure. And the same people that you are doing this for, who say 1 second they're with you, be the main ones talking trash about you when something happens that doesn't agree with what their agenda what it should be. So you have the pressure of being perfect and being on 24/7 for your people, knowing your people don't have your back. You represent a people who holistically may not back you. And I felt that from my small place in space. That was my small perspective. I can only imagine being the face of the Olympics, this racist Olympics. It seemed like every time anything, even down to swimming caps, they told the Black swimmers that there's a swimming cap that is better for Black hair and Black women, does not give them an advantage, doesn't give them a disadvantage. They told them holistically, no, you can't wear that swimming cap. But when Michael Phelps wore that special swimsuit made by Nike that hadn't been completely tested, and there was a question mark about it, they didn't tell Michael Phelps he couldn't wear that. I'm confused. So why would I, a Black woman, go to the Olympics and perform for y'all? You already gonna tell me that I know that what I did deserves a 10 plus. I should get extra credit for what I'm doing. But because I'm not, when I say average for an elite athlete, it's still amazing. Understand that. So you want me to break my neck and to come down and do some basic stunts because Beth Ann can't do what I do? And then I have all this pressure on me because just like the 2016 Olympics, we all thought Gabby Douglas was going to be amazing, and the moment she wasn't amazing, the media attacked her, drug her, messed up her. I could tell. When I was watching the 2016 Olympics, I forgot who I was talking to. I said, I was talking to my sister. I said, Gabby Douglas doesn't look like herself. There's a lot. I said she must be under a lot of pressure. There's a lot going on with Gabby Douglas. You could see it. You could see it. You could see it. And Simone Biles was there for that. So she gave y'all the middle finger. Not us who support her. But she's like, you know what? Since y'all don't care about me, I'm gonna care about me. And I applaud her for that. I wish I had that level of that confidence and self-awareness at 24 that she has. There are people who are in their 50s who cannot do what Simone did. I'm not gonna knock her. I don't care what athlete it is. Why would you damage your body? I mean, having done 26 years in the military, I've heard the mission must go, the mission must go, the mission must go. And here I am. Granted, I'm getting paid for my disabilities, but I would much rather have a body that worked because the money don't cover. The money don't do, it does not, it's not nearly enough for what you've sacrificed. Not nearly. Okay, so those are the things I wanted to talk about. And I didn't know I was going to talk about those things. So I want to spend about 10, 15 minutes answering your questions. I thank you for coming in, and hopefully you guys are sharing. And so, Retired and Got Time family, ask me anything, and let's spend some time getting to know each other. And about 15 minutes, and then we'll be done. I thank you for giving me your Saturday. You didn't have to do that, but thank you for helping me out. So I'm gonna go back to some of these comments. I'm gonna get into these comments. Any questions? How is retirement going for me? So, retirement was difficult. If I can be honest, retirement was difficult for me at first because for our society tells us we have to work and we have to be busy and we have to grind and we have to get the bag and all this other stuff. Money, 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 money. And so when I was retiring, I was stressed out. Retirement, and maybe we'll do some mental health. Retired and Got Times. There's a few people on here who walk with me through those dark days because when I retired, I was not the person I was when I went in. And I don't mean maturity wise. I mean 26 years of an environment that constantly told me that my personality was counterintuitive to being anything, being discounted. Mind you, I did have a bad attitude at some point, so it's not all them. But when I finally got to the place where I thought I could make change, realizing that no matter what I did, I was still going to be I was going to be a problem for somebody else. So my blackness was an issue and offense. My confidence was an issue and an offense, and it grinded on me. So I was emotionally and mentally not well when I retired. And so couple that with the stress of how am I going to live because I lived a certain lifestyle for a while and learning how to relax. I'm still learning how to do that. Now, mind you, I did buy a house, I did start some businesses, I did get engaged. So I had a lot of great things happen. I lost my father, and some other things, some not so great things have happened. But I learning to not be busy and be okay. My mindset has changed. I used to want to be super rich and chase down money and have multiple streams of income. Now I want to have multiple streams of passive income that I don't have to work hard at, and I don't want to work. I don't work for anyone else. I want to have agency over my life. I don't think that we don't get paid enough. We get paid pennies for for what we do. We're not compensated well enough. We don't we don't give people a livable wage. We prioritize making other people's rich, the minority rich. I am a democratic socialist. I've lived in Europe and seen how they do things. Some of the things they do, I think they do well. And they prioritize family and time off. And they don't penalize you for needing time off. Case in point, a woman in Germany gets 2.5 years of maternity leave. So she can bond with her baby and be a mother. And guess what? Her job is waiting for her when she comes back. 2.5 years later, she goes back to the same job. Oh, wait, there's more. And when she goes back to work, she gets a kinder stipend for childcare. And when she first goes back to work, the child can only be in childcare. I think it's 6 hours a day. So she only works 6 hours a day until the child can go to kindergarten. So she can go back to a regular work schedule. Another thing, everything closes at 6 o'clock during the week. You don't do anything after 6 o'clock. You need to go to the grocery store, you need to go before 6 o'clock. And everything closes on Saturday by 4. You work long during the week, 6 o'clock. Everything closes at 4 o'clock on Saturday, and they spend the rest of that time with their family. They do nothing on Sunday. Sunday is family day. You can get a ticket for washing your car on a Sunday. You get fined for if you're gardening, if you're gardening as a family thing, it's okay. But work, they don't work on Sunday. Oh, and another thing, they go on holiday at the same time. So if you go to Europe, I moved to Germany in August. I went to get my phone connected. I had to wait until September because they were on holiday. And there's a 6-week holiday season where all of Europe goes on vacation. They call it holiday. It's 6 weeks long. Now, are they all gone for 6 weeks, 6 straight weeks? No, but during that 6-week time frame, everyone knows the country shuts down for 6 weeks and nothing gets done. And I don't care how angry you get. I don't care if you stand up on a desk. It doesn't matter, American. After holidays, when we're going to come back and get your stuff done. Holiday. Yeah, Taz, that's why in July and August you see all those people in England. Like, why there's so many people here? It's because they're all on holiday. Now, granted, the restaurants will be open and all this other things, but the government means like you need your lights turned off or turned on or whatever. They'll get to it in September. Holiday. And they holidayed as a family. They prioritize family. They also it would be nothing to have 3 generations living in one house. I remember looking for a place to stay in Germany, and y'all know I've always had a bunch of shoes. So I wanted a 3-bedroom because they didn't have closets. They had these things called wardrobes. Have you seen Chronicles of Narnia, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, those little closet wardrobes, those are what they're called closets because they're minimalist. They're minimalist. So the fact that I had 100 pairs of shoes was excessive. They may have 5 or 6 pairs of shoes. And they will have their clothes. They will have good quality clothing, but they would switch it out. But they didn't have a whole bunch of clothes. So anyway, so I was wanting to turn one of those bedrooms into a closet for my shoes. And so they would ask, well, how many people? I live alone. Oh no, I can't rent to you. I'm like, why not? This is too much for one person. This is for a family. You're just one person. No, I'm not going to rent to you. I was like, wow, okay. So they live within their means. Things are smaller there. They have a smaller footprint. The cars are smaller. Everything is smaller. They go by necessity. Their food is fresh. They only buy food. The refrigerators are tiny because they buy food for what they need and they cook fresh. Anyway, I went off into a whole nother tangent, but retirement has taught me that I need to learn how to relax. A lot of them live longer because they don't have the stressors of life. America kills us slowly and surely. For us to have the best health care, we also have a high mortality rate. And a lot of that has to do with our food and our stress levels. And so I'm learning how to decompress and prioritizing mental health above all. Yeah, we are hoarders. We are taught to hoard. And I think for Black America, we hoard because we're so used to famine. We live in famine and acquiring things because things were always withheld from us. We didn't know when we want to get the next this or the next that. And we don't farm. It's like they farm and prioritize farming in Europe. And so our food that we have all these preservatives that make them last longer because we don't live near where we get our food. So Germany there's cities There are not a lot of cities. There's a few, and they build up, not necessarily out. And there's still a lot of villages, and there's a lot of pasture land, green land that they cannot grow on. I remember one last thing about Germany. If you got into a car accident and you hit a tree, you had to pay thousands of dollars for that tree. You were penalized because that tree was you had to pay, especially if it was a fruit bearing tree, you had to pay for all the fruit that that tree would have produced during the time it take for another one to be planted and to mature. They didn't play that. Whew, I'm sorry. That was a long answer to your question. I didn't hit any trees. They tell you when you being military, you get these different briefings and stuff. So they tell you about the local laws and stuff. Yep, if you hit a tree or if you cut down a tree illegally, you have to recycle there and trash. You had to sort your trash. They composted and recycle. So any food that can be composted, you had to do compost. You had to do regular trash, and then you had to recycle. And you would get fined if you did not compost, recycle, and separate your trash. Yep. I'm gonna give you another minute or so before we log off. I think future generations. I think COVID has changed the game. I've s- Listen. There are so many jobs out here that are going unfilled because people refuse to go back to work. The Gen Zers are not playing it. They're not having it. They're not going to work themselves to death. They're not for all that. So COVID has shown many of these companies that a lot of the stuff you making us come into the office to do, we don't have to do that. A lot of people are just as productive, if not more productive. So I think the Gen Zers are not going to necessarily retirement's going to look different for them. They're going to live their best lives now. They're not going to wait until they're 65 to enjoy retirement. I think what needs to happen too is we need to change how we look at money and wealth and stop with just all this acquiring of things and begin to live life for today and to incorporate those things that we wait for. Because a lot of things that we say, retirement, we work until we're 65. And most people, when they turn 65, their health is not to the point where they can even enjoy traveling and doing all this other stuff. So I think people are learning how to enjoy life now and do things now and live in the now. And so I do foresee us getting away from a 40-hour work week. I think we should get paid for 40 hours, but only work 25 to 30 hours because even the job I have now, I work 20 hours, 25 hours a week, and I can do all of that in 10 hours a week. So I'm just there for the sake of being there. When just pay me the set amount for the week. And when I get my work done, I get my work done. So I think we're going to get away from this 40-hour crazy work week and get like the Europeans. They don't work 40 hours a week. They work 30, maybe 32 hours a week, and they get paid a livable wage and they live off what they live off of. So yeah, there are a lot of jobs to be had, but people don't want to go to them because, we need to pay our restaurant workers differently. We don't need to have as many fast food places. We need to stay at home and cook more and eat food that is alive versus all this processed stuff that we're doing, which is a lot of things that the Europeans do too. They don't have a lot of processed food. Their food lives. So yeah. So yeah. One more question and then we're gonna hop off because we're at 49 minutes now. This was fun. So tell me, give me some feedback in the group about how you like this. Yeah. we do charge way too much for food. People should not have to decide if they're going to feed their family or give up their family place to live. But we also need to get back to learning how to farm. I have mint, and I'm started with mint. I have a mint tree, bush, whatever, in the windowsill, and I want to start growing some herbs first, and then I think we're going to eventually start having a bed in the backyard when we fence the backyard in, and I'm gonna try to grow some tomatoes, some cucumbers, and start you know growing my own food. I think we all need to learn how to do that. Well, Chris, don't make it a dream. Do it now. Even though you're in an apartment, you can still plant things inside your apartment and start growing them. You can grow onions in your apartment. You can do tomatoes. Do a small thing inside the house now. So, yeah, 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 yeah. So, all right, y'all. Let me see if the music will work now. Well, don't try it. Do it. That's the thing that we need to get out of saying what we're going to do, and we need to start doing what we say we're going to do. We hinder ourselves. We keep ourselves back at times. Here it go. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We got the song. We've got the song. Yes, that is the theme song. Y'all like it? Y'all like it? Y'all like it? Y'all like it? I love it. I love it. Y'all want to hear it again? Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. The song is actually longer than that, but yes. So y'all, hey, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. So y'all, thank you for test 2 for Retired and Got Time. So you saw the logo. The logo is ready. Theme song is ready. I'm just trying out different platforms to make sure we can get it spliced up right. And we're just going to go. We're going to go. I think we're going to do the first episode before the end of August, the first official episode of Retired and Got Time. And I have to try one more platform. I think I'm going to try StreamYard and stream it over to here so we can get some of the logo and branding done with it and have a little bit more with it and still do the live chat over here. So, all right, y'all. I love you. Love you to life. Make sure you have a good day and do one thing for me today. Do something intentional for you. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's meditation. I don't know if that's a stretch. I don't know if it's a walk. I don't know if it's writing in your journal. I don't know if it's you going and actually getting the seeds to start your herb garden. Whatever it is, make sure you do something intentional just for you. All right? Talk to you later.